What if the execution of Jacques de Molay in 1314 was not the end of the Knights Templar but a transformation? The fire that consumed him may have been intended to erase not just heresy but something more enduring and organized brotherhood that survived in secrecy. Though the Templars vanished publicly, their symbols, rituals, and philosophies seemed to echo through later centuries, most notably within Freemasonry. Coincidence or continuity? The story begins on Friday, October 13, 1307, when King Philip IV of France launched a coordinated betrayal. At dawn, hundreds of Templars across France were dragged from their beds, accused of grotesque crimes, heresy, blasphemy, sodomy, and idol worship. Confessions, extracted under torture, justified their dissolution. Philip's motives, however, were less spiritual than financial. He was deeply indebted to the order. With papal complicity, the Templars were burned, imprisoned, or scattered. Yet, the collapse was not complete. Not all knights were captured, not all ships seized, and not a single coin of their legendary treasure was ever found. The order had built a vast network of commanderies, ports, and encrypted communications. When the crackdown came, they scattered with speed and precision, suggesting a controlled retreat rather than destruction. At La Rochelle, the Templar naval base, ships reportedly vanished just before the arrest, possibly sailing westward, Scotland, Portugal, or even the New World. Elsewhere, inquisitors found empty properties, cleared out vaults, and hidden tunnels. Whispers arose, fleets escaping into the Atlantic, knights riding under new banners, rituals surviving underground. The Templars' fate varied by region. In England and Hungary, many were acquitted. In Germany, trials lingered with little outcome. But in Portugal, King Denis cleverly preserved them. By 1319, he reconstituted them as the Order of Christ, transferring Templar lands, leadership, and traditions intact. Their great fortress at Tomar still carries carvings of ships, stars, and crosses symbols, later echoed in Masonic iconography. This survival by adaptation may explain how Templar traditions seeped into later societies. Switzerland's banking, secrecy, some argue, mirrors Templar financial practices. More striking are the symbols that reappeared in European architecture and secret fraternities. The twin pillars, Jachin and Boaz, pentagrams, the all-seeing eye, and sacred geometry. These motifs proliferated in the 14th and 15th centuries, soon after the Templars' fall. One of the most mysterious sites is Roslin Chapel in Scotland, 1486. Built by the Sinclair family who had Templar ties. The chapel is filled with esoteric carvings, crosses, coated pillars, even maize and aloe motifs that suggest knowledge of the Americas decades before Columbus. Scotland itself was an ideal refuge, beyond papal control, at the time of the suppression. There, operative stonemason lodges began adopting secret rituals, oaths, and degrees as early as the late 1300s. This was the seedbed of Freemasonry. The idea of direct Templar continuity is reinforced by the controversial Charter of L'arminius, allegedly written in 1324, claiming an unbroken succession of Templar Grand Masters after de Molay, though often dismissed as forgery. It shows that belief in Templar survival persisted. The transition from militant monks to esoteric builders was gradual. Swords became symbols. Jerusalem gave way to Solomon's Temple as a spiritual allegory. The Regius manuscript 1390, describing stonemasons' rules, strangely emphasized secrecy. Sacred numbers and biblical allegories, traits unnecessary for mere construction, but consistent with inherited traditions. By the 1500s, lodges were no longer just for builders, but for philosophers, nobles, and alchemists. In 1599, the Edinburgh Lodge kept formal minutes. In 1646, Elias Ashmole recorded his initiation into speculative masonry, and by 1717, the Grand Lodge of London was founded, formalizing a tradition centuries in the making. Many of its symbols, the twin pillars, the square and compass, the emphasis on secrecy, and initiation mirror Templar rites. The continuity remains debated. Were the Freemasons direct heirs, or simply inspired imitators? Evidence is circumstantial, but compelling. Templar rituals of secrecy, rebirth, and symbolic death parallel Masonic initiation. Templar reverence for sacred geometry and Solomon's Temple resurfaces in Masonic architecture. Even today, many Masonic lodges include a Knights Templar degree, perpetuating the link. Ultimately, the Templars may not have vanished, but rather adapted, hiding not in forests or caves, but in symbols, lodges, and architecture. Their survival was not about armies, but about secrecy, knowledge, and continuity. If they escaped their destruction, Portugal and Scotland provided fertile ground for their rebirth. From there, their legacy may have flowed quietly into Freemason society that turned swords into compasses, fortresses into lodges, and secrecy into tradition. The flame that burned Jacques de Molay did not end the brotherhood. It transformed it, leaving behind whispers in candlelight, carvings in stone, and symbols that still glow faintly today. The best place to hide a secret is in plain sight, and the Templars, if they survived, mastered that art.